Hello and welcome back. My name is Clara. I have stage 4 endometriosis spread all the way up to my diaphragm. So this video is going to be about my very first surgery, about endometriosis, how I got my diagnosis, and even though it's not going to be very helpful, I hope it might be, on all the steps that it took me to get to have my surgery done, to what happened and what you have to be mentally prepared that might happen during the surgery, to my recovery time. So, a warning, this might be quite emotional for me, but you know, I thought about sharing it. Just so you know, I've been diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, spread everywhere, deep everywhere, a mess. Everything is glued together, it's a mess. And basically what happened when I finally got my op was they looked inside and they said, oh, this is a mess, and closed me back up. So just so you know, that is unfortunately an option. I'm gonna go in order. So what symptoms led me to have my surgery? I had the option to be checked for endometriosis back when I was 14, 15. I had my doctor back home telling me that, you know, it would be a good idea to have a laparoscopy and just check why you have all of these really bad period pains. And I said no. I thought I was a drama queen. Everybody, gynecologists included, told me that I was over my head. So I've said no to my doctor, even though now, 10 years later, I feel so grateful for having him as my doctor, because, you know, it put the mosquito near my ear that says endometriosis. So I've started to be a little bit more careful about endo symptoms. But again, you know, my symptoms were always bad, always really, really bad. And I was not considering surgery. I didn't want to go under. I was terrified, you know, I might never wake up. Or I'm really dramatic, so all kind of things that popped to my brain were insane. But when I started struggling with my breathing, and like now, if I try to like turn like this, I can feel stuff inside me being pulled. So I need to be careful on all kind of movements I take and I do, and how I do them, and for how long I do them. It's not fun. But yeah, when I started struggling with my breathing, that was my signal to start the chaos. Scream, shout, cry, call ambulances, go to hospital every single day, until eventually, I'm not saying that they gave up, but they did give up. Every time I have a blood test, the blood test shows up raised CA125, I get referred to the hospital. No, it's not cancer, go back home. Get bad, CA125 raised, go back. And it's just been like this back and forth. And I had the worst doctor throughout the whole thing. I'm not going to mention his name because it doesn't even deserve that. But yeah, he told me that I was making it up, that I was fine, that, you know, man up, and it's just a period, or the woman struggles with the period. Then I put a formal complaint for him. Then I got another doctor. And I finally got my surgery date. And on the footnote for my surgery, it said, to prove her she doesn't have endometriosis, and remove the little ovarian cyst. And I found that so childish. And, you know, I got all the symptoms. I have all of them. I had painful periods. They put me on the pill. I felt better. I stopped the pill. I got worse again. the symptoms started getting worse on a monthly basis. Back pain, leg pain, stomach ache, bowel movements, bladder, breathing, fatigue, headaches, migraines, the whole package. And you're telling me that there is no chance I could have endo? Really? Like, really? But anyway, I pushed it, managed to get my surgery, and I think I had 8 cancelled surgery, more or less. I've lost count, honestly. Many surgery. They booked me in, they cancelled it because somebody else was more urgent. They booked me in, they cancelled me because the doctor got ill. They booked me in, somebody else more urgent. They booked me in, they didn't even bother about giving me a reason. We'll call you back again when we have time. It was just like coping with it. And in the meantime, you need to remember to come off your contraceptive, because being on the contraceptive help hiding and calming down your symptoms. So I'm not talking about lesions, I'm talking about actual blisters of endo and like cysts and stuff. If they're not fully angry, bloody, they might not see them and ignore them. So if you're not on the progesterone pill and you're having pain and cramps and you're having a flare up and everything is inflamed, it's easier for them to notice it. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is what I've learned through the internet. And all I know is I called up my GP and he said, no, my gynae. And they've said, oh yeah, sorry, we forgot to tell you, stop the contraceptive. So there must be some truth behind the whole thing. Because then when I begged to go back on the contraceptive, they told me no. And obviously because they kept cancelling it, I think I got told to stay off it for 4 weeks before the surgery. But mine kept getting cancelled and cancelled and cancelled, so I was just being off the contraceptive for a long time, and my pains were getting really bad. Eventually I had my surgery, got in the morning. I got told to, stop eating at a certain time, stop drinking at a certain time, followed it all up. Please be careful and be mindful on what time you drink and what time you eat, because they, when you fall asleep, I'm not sure if they do it like all the time, but they usually do. They stick a tube down your throat to help you breathe. And you don't want to throw up with that because you might choke up. Because the total anesthesia does make you nauseous. It didn't with me, but it could do. So make sure to stop eating as soon as you can and stop drinking as soon as you can. You will need to have your bladder full when you get there. So make sure to hold it in or take it with you if you really need to pee. Because I got to the hospital and I was by myself and I was very nervous, and they basically made me do a pregnancy test while I was in the waiting room. And I was thinking, yeah, sure. And like a little part of my brain was like, can you imagine how beautiful it would be if now you're pregnant? Well, I wasn't. Boom. They gave me, I had to pee inside a little bottle. And I went to the toilet and I forced myself to pee, to then realize I was just peeing without collecting it. So then I had to sit there like trying really hard, like focusing to get like a couple of drops. But I've managed to do that, and that was sorted. I go in the morning. I was supposed to go in for surgery around 12. And around 4 o'clock, I had this really weird interaction with this nurse, because she came up to me saying to be mentally prepared that I might not have my surgery done because they're behind, and this can happen. So don't get upset and just wait. And there was somebody else that went to check with the nurses, with the surgeons, to see if they could let me in. And then throughout the day, I've spoken to the anesthesiologist, to the surgeon, to a nurse. They measure my weight, my height. They tell you all kind of things like you need to sign a consent form because it might break a tooth while they're trying to stick a tube down your throat. It doesn't happen usually, but you know, be careful. Or if you got teeth that are wiggling, let them know. All kind of like normal procedures, forms. I spoke to the gynecologist with my surgeon, and the conversation I had with her was the most disappointing, because I was struggling to stand straight. I was struggling to walk to the office. I was struggling to sit down. And then you look at my eyes and you say, you only have a little ovarian cyst. You really want to undergo surgery for that. And I was in pain. And I was angry and sad. And nobody is listening to me. And like no one out there is on it and ready to help me, to give me the help I need. So I explained to her that I had pains, really bad pains, and I wanted to check. And she was like, yeah, no problem. We'll give a quick look. We'll remove the cyst. And then she explained to me that if my endometriosis was stage 1 or 2, they will remove it, clean it up, and remove the ovarian cyst as well. But if it was anywhere beyond that, I wouldn't get touched because it was too late for them. You wouldn't want to make them work too much. And to be fair, the surgeon was a good surgeon at the end. Got in, they gave me the sock. Oh, wait. So after that conversation, where I got told, be mentally prepared because we might send you away, my husband and his father show up. So my husband, classic, 100% English boy, okay? Blonde, gingerish, pale blue eyes, beautiful little boy. With his father, really tall man, white hair, blue eyes, super white dudes. And I'm not sure if the presence of them with me changed it. It might not have been racist. It might have been more of a, maybe she has somebody that's backing her up, so we better do the job correctly. Because I looked like a homeless person while I was waiting there. So make sure if you're going in the waiting room, get a parent, get a friend, get a mom, get a father, get a brother, get a random guy that you paid dinner to just sit with you and hold your hand and prove them that they're not going to be pissing off one person, but it will be 2 people that will be pissing off. Because as soon as my husband and his father came in, that was 3 minutes after she told me that I might have to go away, and I had to wait for another man to show up and tell her whether I'll be in or out. As soon as they came in, they gave me a hug and she went, okay, come on, we're gonna get you changed now. And I was like, yeah, but the other man didn't come. She was like, well, change of plan. And I was like, okay, guys, I'll see you when I come out. So went in, I sat in this little room. I put on my socks and my surgical robe, and it was all of a sudden things started to move so fast, and I didn't know what was going on, because until 5 minutes before I was ready to go home, and now I'm getting changed and I'm putting the socks, and I was happy and I was nervous, and I took a peeky picture of me, and I was so excited about it all. And then the demons in my head, I was like, oh my god, what if you wake up with a poop bag, you know, like the colonoscopy bags, or with a urine bag? Or what if they mess up and they, I don't know, cut a leg off because they got you in for the wrong surgery? I don't know, my brain just went completely completely nuts. And I had this young boy with me the whole time. It walked me down this hall, and I think each room was like a surgical department or surgical area. And then there was like a pre-room to my room where they were getting, you know, the bed ready, everything's cleaned, everyone was there. And I just sat there with this guy, chatting about life, about things, about how I was doing, what I was studying. He was trying to kind of like calm me down and explain me the whole procedure. I think he was just a student trying to keep an eye on me, basically. I remember I kept my underwear. They don't want you to keep your underwear, so take them off. I had to take off my underwear, and I kind of like walked into the surgical room, and I was thinking, I forgot to ask, do I need to take off my underwear? And they went, yeah. And then everybody just like turned around when I was taking my knickers down and trying, to cover up everything, even though you're gonna go and see the whole thing. I lied in this bed, and the anesthesiologist, he was fantastic. It was this young dude. I don't know, it was just like, he was in his vibe, he was happy, he was in his mood with his colorful shoes. I couldn't honestly take him very seriously. So in my head I thought, I'm gonna wake up. This little boy is gonna put me under. I'm gonna be awake the whole time. I wanted to get my IV line, the thing that's sticking to you, in here, but he said no, and I put it over here, and I think over this hand, and I've hated it because it was in the way, it was painful. It left a bruise for a couple of months, but it put me under through here, and it took me a while to go down, because it was like, okay, and within a couple of seconds it should be out. I'm like, nope, I'm still here. And then he dosed me up a little bit, and he went, now you should be out. Then within like 10-15 minutes, I was like, I'm starting to feel drunk. Okay, I'm gone. And just before I completely zoned off, they made sure that I knew what surgery I was in for, what side of me had a cyst in, what endometriosis was, explained again. Stage 1 and 2 will remove, clean it up. Stage 3 and 4 will close you back up. So they made a belly button incision, and then they made one incision on the bikini line and one incision like in between the belly button and the incision and the bikini line. They went in, they took loads of pictures. I have all the pictures, but unfortunately they couldn't do the operation because the bowel was too involved, the bladder was too involved, the diaphragm, like they needed many different specialists to be in the same room before doing things. And apparently as soon as they've tried to move things around, I've started bleeding a lot. So they just stopped the surgery straight away. They've not removed the cyst, they've not done anything. But on the other hand, with that teeny tiny bit of moving around they've done, I actually did felt better. Because I used to have like a constant pain where my cyst was, like something was pulling there. And I think when the bleed happened, they snapped an adhesion that was hurting me. Kind of like felt better, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, I woke up in the recovery room, and I was happy. I was high. I was happy, not in pain at all. Went up, straight to the loo. Realized that somebody stuck a mega mum nappy. It's like a super pad. And it was just like somebody just went to shove it between my legs because I was not wearing any underwear. So I got myself sorted out. They made me sit for a while. And it was fun because I was working with the radio, with the anesthesia on, and I had my fun. I swear, I was so happy. Especially because, obviously, I just got my diagnosis. I just got told that everything is true. I'm not lying. I'm in pain. I'm hurting. And I think that was the best day of my life. I think I got married like 4 weeks after. But, knowing that I don't need to be locked up in a psychiatric center, and knowing that I'm not completely nuts, and being validated in that way, that was amazing. Obviously with the NHS you have to fight. So now I'm still fighting because apparently my file went lost and I've not been called back. Therefore, they've not booked me back. And now the whole process is going on again. And I'm waiting for... At this point, I'm just waiting for the referral to go through for my next stop. Because I've spoken with a different doctor. And finally, I had my op in September. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It took them 7 months to book me back in with a gynecologist, and he apologized. He said that probably my file went lost. It still shows up on the system that I'm awaiting a referral for the gyne department from the 23rd of November 2023. We are the 21st of April 2025, so we got lost completely. He referred me now back to the Liverpool hospital. He said that he's going to talk to me, to the multidisciplinary team with the Chester Hospital. And then after that, I'll be referred to the Liverpool hospital if they think is appropriate to do so. But that is his plan. It's going to be an intensive, really long surgery. Many hours of surgery to clean it up. But... yeah, I'm thinking about maybe showing you the pictures of what they found inside me just to give you a bit of an idea. I don't know if that classes as porn. Like, if you see my uterus on the other side, ignore me. I'll just post a bunch of pictures of my insides. They're not meant sexually, they're meant to show you the disease, so be okay. On the other hand, like now it's been 7 months since my last stop. It does feel like a lot of wasted time because I could be trying now to have baby and I can't because I cannot stop the pain, the progesterone pill. The process took 4 years of me banging on the door every day to then finally get an op where they don't do anything. I got my answers, yes, but now I'm just waiting here for another referral to a different hospital. Start the whole process all over again. It's gonna take up to 2 years time. It does drain you mentally, but you know, we're just trying to cope with it and carry on. So it's nobody's fault, but the surgery could not go as planned because usually, worst case scenario, you will wake up with a colonostomy bag, so a poopy bag, because they had to chop off a piece of your bowel. If they do that, usually there is a bowel doctor present. You had a bowel prep, and the whole process is just to make sure that, you know, you heal correctly. Sometimes those processes are reversible, so as soon as your bowel is healed, they put it back together. But like, that was my biggest worry. So as soon as I woke up, I just checked my belly. I was like, yes. Sometimes they don't do anything, but you get diagnosis. So I'll let you know how my next surgery is gonna go. thank you for listening, and I'll let you know how and what part I'm going to get operated on, when that is going to be, and how that recovery is going to take. Because this one took only, I want to say then within 3-4 days, I was nearly completely fine. It took like 2 weeks to heal completely the scars. But within 3 days, the gas pain was gone. The gas pain for me just felt like my usual shoulder pain. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you again for the next video, and subscribe if you like it, and I'll talk to you again soon.